In the opening scene of the film, we witness a dramatic encounter between a king and a dragon. The king, along with his soldiers, ventures into a cave in pursuit of the dragon. As they proceed cautiously, the dragon suddenly attacks them with its fiery breath, swiftly eliminating each soldier one by one. Faced with imminent danger, the king finds himself pleading for mercy from the fearsome dragon as the scene concludes. After this intense confrontation, the story shifts to another kingdom, set centuries later. This new kingdom is depicted as impoverished, with its citizens suffering from hunger and hardship. Here, we are introduced to Elodie, the princess of this struggling realm. In the midst of these challenges, an opportunity arises for Princess Elodie. A proposal arrives from a powerful neighboring kingdom, offering marriage to a prince. Elodie's father sees this as a chance to improve their kingdom's fortunes and eagerly approves the match, hopeful that it will bring prosperity. Despite her own reservations, Elodie agrees to the marriage, recognizing the potential to positively impact her kingdom's situation. With the promise of change on the horizon, Elodie and her entourage set off for the prince's kingdom to fulfill the marriage arrangement. As they approach the island, a thick fog envelops them, obscuring their view. Through the mist, they catch sight of towering dragon statues, hinting at the island's mysterious history. Eventually, they reach the magnificent palace, a grand structure surpassing anything Elodie has ever seen. A royal servant greets them warmly and leads them to their quarters, where they can finally rest after their journey. Later that night, Elodie stands on a balcony, gazing out at the landscape shrouded in darkness. In the distance, she notices a flicker of light, a distant fire burning in the mountains. The sight captivates her, stirring a sense of intrigue and curiosity about the island's secrets. In the morning, the queen informs Elodie's father that she approves of the marriage proposal, and they will proceed with the wedding the following day. She expresses her desire to discuss the matter further with him. Meanwhile, Elodie and the prince engage in conversation as they stroll towards a hill. Elodie takes the opportunity to inquire if the prince feels coerced into the marriage. The prince reassures her, denying any compulsion and instead complimenting her beauty. During their discussion, Elodie mentions her observation of a fire in the mountains from the previous day. The prince acknowledges the significance of those mountains, revealing that inside a cave there are ancient rituals to be conducted after their wedding. He explains that they will participate in these rituals on their wedding day. In the next scene, Elodie's father is visibly troubled since his encounter with the queen. When Elodie's mother inquires about his concerns, he remains reluctant to answer, prompting her to seek answers from the queen herself. However, the queen displays arrogance and refuses to engage in conversation with Elodie's mother, citing her origins in a smaller kingdom. Meanwhile, the queen gathers her two daughters and expresses a foreboding feeling about an impending event. As they converse, Elodie's father joins them, leading her mother away mid-conversation. It becomes evident that he is keeping secrets and wishes to conceal certain matters from his family. Elodie's marriage to the prince takes place as planned. They proceed to the mountains, where Elodie had previously witnessed fire. The prince had informed Elodie about the rituals that would occur there. Upon reaching a cave within the mountain, they find people from the kingdom already assembled, all wearing masks. The queen reveals to Elodie the history of the cave, explaining that a fearsome dragon once inhabited it and wreaked havoc on their kingdom. Despite attempts by their king to defeat the dragon, none succeeded. Eventually, the king made a pact with the dragon, offering his 3 daughters as sacrifices in exchange for peace. As part of the ritual, the queen cuts the hands of both Elodie and the prince, and they hold hands, symbolizing their union and the continuation of the sacrifice. They are pronounced as one, and the prince carries Elodie, signifying their bond. Though Elodie feels embarrassed, she is also filled with a sense of happiness and anticipation, unaware of what awaits her next. The prince then throws Elodie into the pit. As Elodie regains consciousness in the pit, she realizes she is in a dire situation. Her shouts for help awaken the sleeping dragon, which stirs at the sound of her voice. Despite her fear, Elodie knows she must try to escape. She attempts to climb out of the pit, but the surface is too slippery, causing her to slip and fall repeatedly. Amidst her struggles, Elodie notices various items scattered around the pit, remnants of previous sacrifices. Suddenly, she spots flames in the air, and upon closer inspection, she realizes that the dragon's fire has incinerated some flying insects nearby. The sight of the dragon's presence fills Elodie with overwhelming terror, adding to the urgency of her escape. And here, the dragon asks her, "What is your name?" After telling Elodie the name, the dragon tells her, "You have come here under a deal. In return, I will kill you today, because smell royal blood from you." Elodie runs away from there, and the dragon sees her running away and attacks her with her fire. While running away, Elodie finds a small cave. but she could not escape the dragon's fire completely. Her foot is badly burned. She tears off her clothes and ties the wound to her foot. Elodie couldn't give up. She had to run away from here at any cost. She gets up and starts exploring this place, and on the way, she sees a blue light. Following that light, when she gets close to it, she finds out that it was coming out of a tree. Elodie wanted to go near this tree, but there was a very big pit in the middle. There was a dragon behind her, so the pit was ahead. She had to die somewhere. She decides to jump from here, but her one wrong step puts her life in danger. She was about to fall into the pit, but with the help of the knife in her hand, she saved herself and climbed onto the other side of the pit. The blue light coming out of the tree was actually some small, glowing insects on that tree. Elodie tears off her dress again and makes a bag. She stuffs a lot of insects inside it, so that when she walks ahead, they work as a lamp for her. A little further on, Elodie also finds a small waterfall. Elodie opens her mouth to drink water, but then the dragon comes up and attacks her with fire. To save herself, Elodie runs away again. Elodie hides again in a small cave, and the dragon taunts Elodie, saying, "How long will you be able to run from me?" There were the names of many girls in this small cave, which made Elodie realize that many girls must have been sacrificed here. Exhausted by all these revelations, she falls asleep. When she wakes up, she finds all the insects she had collected in her dress sitting on her wound. In a panic, she picks up those insects with her wound and realizes that her wound has healed completely. These insects prove to be of great use. Continuing forward with them, she finds a small stone with a map showing how to get out of there. Following the map, she desperately sought to escape, but the path was littered with sharp stones. Despite the danger, she pressed on, her determination overriding her pain as she climbed with great difficulty. Eventually, she found a way out, but it led to the side of a mountain with no way down. Overwhelmed, she began to cry, feeling trapped and helpless. As she contemplated her plight, she heard the sound of horses approaching. Suddenly, a dragon appeared before her. Realizing she was in grave danger, Elodie hastily retreated back into the cave, where the dragon ominously warned her that no one had ever escaped from that place and vowed to catch her. Elodie's heart raced as she heard her father's voice echoing from the depths of the cave. With renewed hope, she descended to reunite with him. Along the way, she stumbled upon a trove of gold and 3 broken dragon eggs. As she surveyed the scene, a realization dawned on her. The story the queen had recounted was only partially true. In reality, it was the king who had trespassed into the cave many years ago and discovered 3 dragon eggs. In a fateful act of aggression, he had destroyed the unborn dragons. This revelation shook Elodie to her core, reshaping her understanding of the conflict and her place within it. This scene cuts and shows us a scene from the past, where the king is begging the dragon for his life. Then the dragon said to the king, "I also want to see you suffer. I will need 3 children from each generation of yours. After taking their sacrifice, I will let you and your kingdom live in peace." And we see the present, where Elodie's dad was calling out to his daughter. And then the dragon comes in front of him. He says to the dragon that I have come to take my daughter back. Even if I have to fight you for this, I am ready to fight. The dragon says to him, "Then call your daughter here." Elodie's dad says loudly, "Elodie, wherever you are, don't come here." As soon as he says this, the dragon gets angry, and she stabs one of her nails into Elodie's dad's chest. Seeing her dad dying in front of her eyes, Elodie's screams distract the dragon. She goes to the other side to find Elodie, and as soon as she gets a chance, Elodie comes to her dad. He was saying to Elodie that I am dying because of my sin of not protecting you, but you have to stay alive. Go, your mother and sister are waiting for you on our ship when she dies. As Elodie made her desperate escape from the clutches of the dragon, the queen, consumed by fury and desperation, plotted her next move. Observing the chaos unfolding from the safety of her palace, she blamed Elodie for the turmoil and vowed to restore order by any means necessary. Meanwhile, aboard the ship where Elodie's sister anxiously watched the distant mountains ablaze, the queen seized the opportunity to further her sinister agenda. With a heart hardened by ambition, driven by her ruthless determination to protect her kingdom, the queen resolved to sacrifice Elodie's sister in place of the princess, offering her up as a pawn in her deadly game with the dragon. In a failed attempt to protect her daughter, Elodie's mother gets stabbed as well. In the midst of the unfolding tragedy, Elodie's resolve remained unshaken as she confronted the grim reality of her situation. Upon encountering her injured mother, who exhibited remarkable strength despite her wounds, Elodie received her mother's blessing to embark on a perilous mission to save her sister from the clutches of the dragon. With a heavy heart and a steely determination, Elodie disclosed the painful truth of her father's demise to her mother before setting out on her quest. Armed with the knowledge of the queen's treachery and the imminent danger facing her sister, Elodie hastened to the cave, where she suspected her sister was being offered as a sacrifice. As she ventured into the depths of the cave, Elodie prepared herself for the impending confrontation with the dragon. Gathering shining insects to illuminate her path and wielding her father's sword alongside other weapons she had procured, she steeled herself for the battle that lay ahead. With each step, Elodie's resolve grew stronger, fueled by her unwavering determination to rescue her sister and thwart the queen's sinister scheme. In a tense and fraught moment within the cavern's depths, Elodie's bravery and resourcefulness are put to the ultimate test as she confronts the wrathful dragon, determined to save her sister and expose the truth behind the kingdom's dark history. As the dragon menacingly looms over Elodie's sister, employing a clever ruse to divert the dragon's attention. With quick thinking and cunning, she creates a disturbance within the cave, drawing the dragon away momentarily, allowing her the opportunity to reach her sister's side. Yet even in the midst of this daring rescue attempt, the dragon's fury remains unrelenting. Elodie's attempt to tell the dragon that she is not of royal blood and how the kingdom has been fooling her by killing innocent girls. Undeterred by Elodie's revelations and pleas for reason, the dragon launches a vicious assault, unleashing torrents of flame upon the brave princess. Despite the grave peril she faces, Elodie stands resolute, steadfast in her determination to protect her sister and confront the injustices perpetrated by her kingdom's elders. In this climactic showdown, the fate of Elodie, her sister, and the kingdom itself hangs in the balance as the courageous princess confronts the formidable dragon with courage and conviction. As the dragon closes in, Elodie finds herself plunging into the icy waters below, her body racked with pain from the dragon's relentless assault. Refusing to yield to despair, Elodie seizes an opportunity to strike back, wielding her sword with precision and determination. With a swift and decisive blow, she targets the dragon's eye, eliciting a roar of fury from the wounded beast. As the dragon recoils from the painful injury, its own fiery breath inadvertently ignites the surrounding stones, engulfing it in a blaze of searing heat. The once ferocious creature now writhes in agony, its strength waning with each passing moment. Seizing the opportunity to deliver her message, Elodie confronts the dragon with unwavering resolve, revealing the truth behind the kingdom's dark deeds and the innocence of those sacrificed in its name. With heartfelt sincerity, she implores the dragon to see beyond its thirst for vengeance and recognize the injustice inflicted upon both their kind. The dragon understands her wrongdoings and asks Elodie to kill her, as death is the only befitting punishment for her. Moved by compassion and a desire for true justice, Elodie refuses to succumb to the cycle of violence and instead chooses forgiveness. With a heart full of empathy, she tends to the dragon's wounds, using the healing power of the insects she has gathered. In this act of mercy, Elodie not only saves the dragon's life, but also offers a path towards reconciliation and healing. As the dragon's wounds begin to heal, a sense of understanding dawns upon it. The dragon acknowledges that its quest for vengeance was misplaced, and that the true traitors are the prince and queen, who betrayed both Elodie and the dragon itself. With the truth laid bare and justice served, Elodie stands resolute in her determination to end the cycle of deceit and violence perpetuated by the prince and queen. Elodie walks in on them as they are staging yet another wedding, as she confronts them with the reality of their actions, urging the innocent to flee to safety. The queen, in her arrogant tone, demands to know how a lone girl who survived the dragon plans to take her whole kingdom down. In a dramatic turn of events, Elodie's proclamation of unity with the dragon is vindicated as the majestic creature swoops down from the skies, its formidable presence symbolizing the culmination of justice. With a roar that echoes across the land, the dragon unleashes its fury upon the palace, reducing it to rubble and ashes. As the flames of retribution engulf the once mighty stronghold of the deceitful monarchs, Elodie stands amidst the destruction, her gaze unwavering and her resolve unyielding. The queen's arrogant defiance is silenced by the undeniable truth of her downfall, as the consequences of her actions come crashing down around her. In the aftermath, we see Elodie and her family. Elodie's words of assurance to her mother reflect her confidence in the resilience of their family and their ability to overcome adversity. With the weight of her father's legacy and the promise of a prosperous future, Elodie's mother embraces the journey ahead with optimism and gratitude. As they embark on their voyage homeward, the story comes to a close, leaving behind a legacy of courage, resilience, and the enduring power of truth and justice. And with the image of Elodie and her family, accompanied by the dragon, Disappearing into the horizon, the tale concludes, leaving behind the promise of a brighter tomorrow.